But I noticed at Redeemer that you hammer home, that one of the great sins has to do with, work.
Yeah.
And being obsessed with your work and being obsessed with success. A lot of it has to do with where you are, but that cuts to the heart of this book, and that is, what is the good work? What's the good endeavor?
Well, first of all, the book's title is taken from John Coltrane, the liner notes to A Love Supreme. He had a spiritual awakening, and he said that that spiritual awakening changed his attitude toward his own work and his ability to make music. The problem is that when you make your work your identity, which of course is what we're invited to do in our culture now, especially with the professionals, when you make it your identity, you identify with your work, and that means if you're successful, it destroys you because it goes to your head. If you're not successful, it destroys you because it goes to your heart, and it destroys your self-worth. And what you need with faith is faith gives you an identity that's not in work or accomplishment, and that gives you insulation against the weather changes. So if you're successful, you stay humble. If you're not successful, you have some ballast. And so basically making your work, your identity, kind of an idol, if to use biblical terminology, is maybe the big sin of New York City.
Well, and that's what you keep going back to again at your church is the success, the idolatry, chasing success, and resentment of others who are almost as successful or more successful than you. That is, again, not just for this city, but for a lot of people now.
Right, but New York sets the tone for an awful, especially people in the professions, and that's the reason why that's a little unusual. To hammer that as the great sin, but I think that's what people are dealing with here.
Yeah, and that becomes the obsession, John, and that's, you start pushing your family aside, you start pushing your friends aside, you start pushing everybody aside for success.
There's the work. How do you, in a pastoral sense, how do you strike the balance, though? Because there is both a biblical and a theological mandate, certainly a body of teaching, that you take joy in what you can do.
Right.
That you are fulfilling a certain destiny here as you proceed to the city of God.
Yeah.
So how do you, where does idolatry end and the good work begin?
As long as you understand that every idol is a good thing turned into an ultimate thing. Idols aren't bad things. So to make sex, money, or power an idol doesn't mean that sex, money, and power are bad.
Right.
And actually, when you turn the good thing into an ultimate thing, then it becomes a kind of a demon. It judges you. If you don't satisfy it, it curses you. It becomes a god.
Right.
And I think what Coltrane was trying to say was that when he had an experience of God's love, music just became music. It was no longer the currency of his self-esteem. And he realized before, making music was about him.
Right.
He did it in order to make himself feel good about himself. And once God filled his soul, music became about other people. I now do it to serve people. And so work is a great thing when it's a servant instead of a lord.
Right. So there's a great quote from C.S. Lewis here on the dangers of pride that you all reference. Pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next man. We say that people are proud of being rich or clever or good looking, but they are not. They are proud of being richer or cleverer or better looking than others.
Yeah, that's another way to get at the idolatry thing. There's nothing wrong with wealth. When the wealth becomes your self-esteem and an identity, then it becomes something that actually drives you. And also something you can't give away.
One interpretation of the Christian story is it's all about reversal. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. And how much does that inform your argument here?
Well, I think actually it does mean that work, if you see work as service, that's the thing I was mentioning with a guy like Martin Luther. If you see work as service, Robert Bella in Habits of the Heart makes this great statement where he says, we need to capture the idea that work is calling to serve the greater good rather than just a means of individual advancement.
Right.
So if work, you can be doing the very same work at the very same level, maybe even making the very same money, and have a servant attitude. That is to say, I'm doing this to serve. This is what Coltrane, he moved from work being a master to being a means by which I serve other people. And then, of course, your attitude within that work will be different. There'll be a humility. You'll see it. There'll be a poise and ease. And so I do actually think that reversal can happen inside work, and yet two people can be sitting side by side doing the very same work at the same level with completely different attitudes, a servant attitude and a masterful attitude.